This is called Iran and the mother of all ballrooms. A severe cacoethes for an ego-led show took the US to war. For how long, do you know? Until Benny Boy says, we're now stepping back. You stay if you want. There's nothing left to attack. What were you promised to put Iran to the sword? A Trump Tower in Tehran if you came on board? We're going to bomb Hezbollah and smash up Beirut. If you bomb Iran, you'll get their oil to boot. Don't be a sissy, you draft-dodging yank. I'll tell the Board of Peace suckers the whole thing's a prank. Look, natty boy, I'm not easy to sway. By stroking my ego, you won't get your way. I'll go down in history, a crusader, you say. The case that you're making's persuasive, all right, and crusading Pete is itching to fight. And domestically speaking, it's a shit show at home. They're Epstein obsessed, Trump derangement syndrome. Epstein's files mention you 38,000 times, and still you insist you've committed no crimes. KJ says it's otherwise, but you say that's untrue. Pam B's been subpoenaed to say what she knew. Who thinks charges will follow? Do you need a clue? While you pardon for cash those who should be in jail, an ex-prince must be wondering what more they'll unveil. You send soldiers to war, but the VA gets cuts. Some people would say that shows you are nuts. When men who've seen battle return to their wives, you don't think they'll need help to carve out new lives? Shame Alex Pretty won't be there as a nurse. He was shot in cold blood, 'cause he wouldn't disperse. Now you've embarked on Benny Boy's war. What's your endgame exactly? Do you know what's in store? Did you expect allies to jump right on board when your long list of insults has been carefully stored? The blunt truth is, Donald, you've just been ignored. If Starmer's not Churchill, then neither are you. You're a cuckoo's nest, Donald, who just never flew. War gets very messy. You can ask your mate Vlad. Shoved off the world stage, he's now probably mad. Not unlike poor Donald, while his sentience wanes. US freedom's in flames and her people in chains. What more evidence do you need of Trump's mental state? Wars can be fought forever, and my ballroom is great. What on earth are you on? 13 are now dead. But the ballroom's what counts in MAGA boy's head. Their coffins came home and we saw you salute the man for whom freedom as a concept is moot. Did all those soldiers die to make Iran free or to serve Donald's purpose? It's not clear to me. Were their WMDs getting ready to fire? Did you find some long tubes? Was MC the supplier? To the rest of the world, you're a conman and liar. Will this war on Iran be your funeral pyre? They were hiding their silos. Why not go with that? If we drop loads of bombs, it's just proxy combat. For launching this war, there'll be no acclaim, but you'll go down in history just covered in shame. I bet General Dan you're just chuffed to bits to serve this CNC and help wage his blitz. Can you head off excesses when he says, kill 'em all? Moab their mosques might be one to forestall. With quiet death Pete saying, let's go crusade. Have you told that nut yet that you cannot invade? An Iran Board of Peace won't float their boat to stop them from fighting. That's a poor antidote. The Gaza board have paid billions, but who creams off the top? Don Jr. and Eric must be working non-stop. Who'll see the contracts when the new build's complete? Who's gonna show Engeron that dodgy spreadsheet? With crypto just crap, have your sons now bought crude? Say the war's going bad, Dad, but Iran is still screwed. That'll send the stock up, and then we can sell. Wait a day, say we've won, and by the way, war is hell. Rise up and be free was Trump's message at first. That's been slightly tempered, a misspoken outburst, given freedoms in America are being reversed. And now Donald wants a say on who governs anew. Mokhtar's a lightweight. Is that your considered view? They must consult me for their leadership choice. Obeisance to America, and then you'll rejoice. When you say their next leader must accept your invite, you stiffen the resolve of those who would fight. Can't you see all that does is vex and incite? Any Sunni-Shia rift won't be hard to unite. Dubai and Bahrain, UAE and the rest get pitched in the deep end, Trump's lust for war fest. Their citizens are killed in a war Trump began. Have you told them, King Donald, what's your game plan? Bringing peace Donald style to a grateful Iran. What if US losses start to steadily rise? We'll just say they're heroes in everyone's eyes. They were brave soldiers who died for my cause. A tiny plaque in your ballroom and muted applause. A quiet death was Pete's stupid and asinine quip. Sailors hauled beneath waves on their torpedoed ship. When they died for their country, screaming out in the dark, not a single real soldier would have made that remark. Real soldiers know the instant when fear grips the heart. You must fight that to function and not fall apart. To belittle dead foes robs them of all respect. How often has Pete stood at death's intersect? Rejoice in their killing is what you wanted said, but don't quip like a Boy Scout about men who are dead. The Christian white God, is that who you invoke? Popeye Pete's warrior ethos, you can see, is no joke. This is combat by soundbite. It's twice shock and awe. You want to sound like the Duke, all you'll get's a guffaw. Was Dan Kane really proud to hear you then boast in your best John Wayne voice that regime is toast? Stupid rules of engagement will just kill 'em all. If this war goes very badly, will Pete take the fall? Did he massage Trump's ego and say history awaits? Not hard when a tyrant runs the United States. Now American lives have already been lost. How many do you think before it's not worth the cost? When the regime you want can't be gained from the air, how will you know when to end this warfare? You better hope that by then it's no US nightmare. Trump posters in Tehran, is that your real goal? A get out of war free card in your midterms foxhole? Will sacks full of corpses sway an opinion poll? Perhaps the question by then is one of damage control. Is Donald playing golf, though 13 are dead? If Dan Kane said no golf, would you still go ahead? Over 100 schoolgirls died the first day, killed by a missile. Did that go astray? Trump says someone else might have done that deed. The girls' mangled bodies weren't on the Fox TV feed. Collateral damage in a regime change war. Might that not be something that Trump should deplore? Poor General Kane. How goes it with you? It seems you told Trump war's a shit thing to do. The NIC also said in Iran war's taboo. But Trump went ahead, though the reason's not clear. Could it be his idea of a new Donrosphere? The Iran Service Medal, who will wear that with pride, stamped from tomahawk casings Iran kindly supplied. Will the ribbon show the colors of green, white, and red? Best not to, I guess, when those schoolgirls are dead. And if Iran gets a Putin, where do you go from there? A new Saladin's a problem, or don't you really care? Now you've jumped in, how do you think it will end? Bombing secret police is not a route I'd commend. Do you think Benny Boy might have sold you a dud for a campaign that's already cost American blood? A transition to a free and fair Iranian state without mullahs in charge could have been great. What price will you pay? Freedom comes at a cost, more than just drones that get shot down or lost. As for boots on the ground, is that going too far? Could this quickly become a US abattoir? Is that on the cards? Will you roll that dice? Body bags do not look good, but it's not your sacrifice. And the coffins of soldiers who would die in Iran evokes memories of failures in Afghanistan. 2,300 US personnel died nation building in a 20-year hell. The cost of bombing Iran, 11 billion's not cheap. And if Cuba's up next, is that mission creep? Bomb the crap out of Cuba, that's a walk in the park. Make immunity Roberts its new patriarch. Why no one has done it is a mystery to you. A bunch of ex-commies can't be hard to subdue. The bombs dropped on Iran, it's just a run-through. Congress wasn't consulted, you didn't bother to ask. A legal legacy, I guessed, and long surplus to task. Didn't you say no foreign wars is my rule? Votes and coffins don't mix at the whim of a fool. If American dead's still a matrix for you, any figure in mind, can you give us a clue? Did you think if you win, you'll get the Nobel? Thousands dead in Iran, is that bauble's death knell? You have always thought you can do what you like. Now your power's absolute in a Trump second Reich. Have you told Iran yet that you want their oil? A Trump statue in Tehran is going to make them recoil. Will you go on nation shaping those who fail to agree once the Middle East's become your version of free? Bibi loves bombing Arabs and doesn't really care. If you're Gazan, you're lucky you're still breathing air. Israel, the country, should of course be there, a sanctuary and shelter for Jews everywhere. But she could tread more softly, wielding her stick, and it's not anti-Jewish to be a peacenik. Will Israeli liberals ever take back the power from the hawks of barbarity who like Arabs to cower? If it's not Lebensraum, then perhaps a pogrom, when you kill and expel with the gun and the bomb. No reply from the Donald. Was it hip hip hooray? If the game is regime change, then I want to play. And the chance to play soldiers was too good to miss. Bombs guided by lasers, when they land it's just bliss. Sure, Trump dodged the draft, but this war's real fun. And no Charlie in flip-flops who's firing a gun. Call me Optimus Trump, I'm just getting her done. Bibi pulled in the Donald to a war in Iran. It took a long time, but that was your plan. We're bombing Khamenei. You can join us or not. can tell them your endgame's an Arab Camelot. Some shekels on crypto with a Trump the payee. In the garden of the righteous does Don get a tree? Or a cactus, perhaps, that better shows his relation to the concept of freedom in the poor US nation? Who cares if there wasn't really much of a threat? The Middle East faces west now, and it's Russia's sunset. Dan Kane said, be wary and don't get dragged in. But this just one more bomb thing puts your head in the spin. They're not Christians or white, but at least they're on side. And with Cuba up next, they'll love me stateside. I know it's split MAGA, but they'll come running back. By the time it's the midterms, we'll have Cuba on track. Thanks, Benny boy, for this chance to attack. For a Jew, you're okay, and at least you're not black.